So I decided to do custom countertops because the existing countertops were both warped and swollen from obvious water damage. Still figuring out where all those leaks are coming from, but I'll figure it out. So I cut the plywood, I rounded the edges with a router, and then I put stone paint on top because I wanted the coloring, but I don't necessarily want the texture, which is why I went ahead and did a coat of glaze, otherwise known as epoxy resin. So from a distance, it looks great. Nice, glassy. That's the kitchen countertop. This is the little cabinet as you come into the door. But on both of these pieces, like I said, they look great from a distance. Nice and glassy, just like they're supposed to. They really don't have too many air bubbles. I did use a heat gun when I first poured it, and it popped all those tiny bubbles for me. So I learned two things. One, you absolutely have to have a level surface. So I was using these two sawhorses, and to me they look level, but they actually aren't. One is shorter than the other. And what that does, it caused a slide in the pour. And I'll show you close up what it did. So 90% of both of these countertops are great, and then there's about 10% that isn't. So I'm going to do a second pour, this time with a very level set of sawhorses. So on this table, it looks great from a distance, and I don't care about the cracks in the plywood, and I'm going to try to catch it, the oops areas. It's right there. So I think it was a combination of a non-level pour. The rest was great, but I got this area right here, minus the clouds, where it didn't fill in all the way, and it was actually dripping away because it was slanting downhill. So between the imperfections in the plywood, this imperfection I can live with. It adds character, but it's completely filled in. This side, not so much. So I'm going to do a second pour. I'm not going to sand it. I'm just going to do another pour and see how that works out. But that was the only, kind of imperfection in the whole thing, is this area right there. And then on this countertop, because of the non-level sawhorses and the fact that this is a textured paint, so it does add height to a normally flat surface. So some of the texture is actually poking through because of the slide of the pour, because of non-level sawhorses. But from a distance, it looks great. Up close, not so much. So I'll let you know how that second pour goes. I'm not going to do any sanding because that seems like such a headache. And I don't have 1000 grit sandpaper, so I'm going to see how it turns out. So until next time, hopefully this turns out, and hopefully I can get it right, because I've yet to make my dinette table and do to it what I'm doing to these two pieces. So until next time, friends don't let friends use canvas.